Welcome to Red Kingdom Sports. And of course, right when I upload my first news video of the day, there has to be even more breaking news, which is kind of frustrating and irritating to see. I kid you not, I uploaded it and literally a minute after Adam Scheffler tweeted that Jason Garrett has been fired as the New York Giants offensive coordinator after oh my God, an awful game. And honestly, a terrible season for the Giants. Because yeah, their offense has been really bad this year. They've had one really good game, and that was against the Saints. And I mean, you could argue that the Washington game they probably could have won. But I mean, other than that, they have been terrible all year long. And that's probably squarely on Jason Garrett. Now, I don't know how much that is on Joe Judge. Joe Judge is probably trying to save his job and change the environment just a little bit for Daniel Jones. But I mean, the Giants were terrible last night. They've been bad all year. They're 3-7 right now. Heck, they put up 247 yards, 300, 302, 261, 367. They had that 485 against the Saints, but 314, 340. Like, in an offensive league, like, these are just really, really bad numbers. And I think they're dead last in total touchdowns the last few years with Jason Garrett as their offensive coordinator. And I mean, if anything, the Giants are better than the Cowboys because they knew how to move off of him quicker than the Cowboys did, because the Cowboys decided to keep him for probably 3 years past that, probably what they should have, because he was with the Cowboys way too long. But at least the Giants saw the issue and they moved off from him. But the issue now is Freddie Kitchens is probably now going to be their play caller, which makes absolutely no sense, because if you looked at the way that he was with the Browns, his play calling, his offense was god awful. And as much as we like to crap on Baker Mayfield, that was never on Baker. Freddie Kitchens was a god-awful football coach, terrible play calling, and now it's literally in the hands of Freddie Kitchens in New York, so good luck, Daniel Jones. But I think they're just trying to give Daniel Jones a chance, because this is the guy that they drafted to be the successor to Eli Manning, so they got to do something. But looking at this points for, they're scoring less than 20 points per game right now. It's just really, really bad statistics. They have 10 passing touchdowns on the season, 9 interceptions. Like, the Giants are bad. They are a bad football team. Jason Garrett lasted 26 games there, and I think I mentioned already, but they were dead last in total touchdowns scored the last 2 years with Jason Garrett there, so I don't blame them for moving on from him because he was terrible. His play calling was god-awful. There was a play that broke Dan Orlovsky completely from last night's game where he was just, in awe about how bad the route running was, the concept that they decided to run. So I don't know. Now, on Daniel Jones's front, there is times where I really like Daniel Jones and I think he looks really athletic. He looks really good. But then there's last night, there's Danny Dimes and then there's Danny Derps. And last night was Danny Derps. But at the same time, we don't know who to blame. But I mean, there's times where I really, really like Daniel Jones. Look at the Saints game. I really liked him in that game. The Washington football, when they played them, I really liked him in that game. But you look the last few games, they've been really, really bad. They had a good game against Carolina, but whatever, that was one game. But this team is bad. Like 18 points per game right now in an NFL like this. That's just awful. That's terrible. In an offensive driven league, and they are a bad football team. And then I think they're like the worst team in the red zone right now. So I mean, as much as you want to put on the players, I think when you look at a stat like that, the worst team in the red zone, that's got to be on. That's play calling and coaching, because the players can only execute the play so much to what the coordinator calls, and so a lot of that you can't put on the players. So, I mean, the Giants, you got to be looking for an offensive coordinator. They have 7 weeks to figure out what they have in this team, because if not, Joe Judge might be gone. Like, it might be cleaning house, because they've been rebuilding for 4 years now, and their offensive line is garbage. They have the weapons on the outside. Daniel Jones is not good or put in bad situations all the time. Their defense is I mean, they're giving up 25 points per game, which is 24th in the league. So this team has a lot of things they got to work on. But I mean, they're firing Jason Garrett, who only went 8-8 when he was a head coach with the Cowboys, and he's a play caller here, and they were 3-7. So, I mean, a lot of these issues, when you're, one of the worst teams in the red zone, that's coaching. Because when you're able to drive that far down into the red zone, you down the field and you're in the red zone, that's talent that's getting you down there. But when you can't score in the red zone and 32% of your points are coming off of field goals, that's completely coaching. Because, you know, when the Chiefs decided to get really cute last year, because I'm a Chiefs fan, so like there's some examples when they were terrible in the red zone offensively. Defensively, that's not the story because we're talking about offense here. When they were terrible in the red zone offensively, that's because Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, they got all cute with it. And so when you're bad in the red zone, that's completely coaching. That is coaching. Now, you can have one or two bad series here and there where it's like, okay, the player missed something. But when you're that bad in the red zone, that's all coaching, nothing else. But yeah, Jason Garrett is fired as a New York not head coach. How bad would that be? The offensive coordinator. Lasted 26 games, and now apparently Freddie Kitchens is going to be their signal caller from now on, or until the rest of the season. So that's the other news story that broke today. Told you that if there was more news, I'd make another video. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.